The massive alien warship hung over Earth like a storm cloud made of metal and light. For 50 years, the Galactic Council had ruled humanity with an iron grip. They took Earth's resources, limited human technology, and treated the planet like a small colony at the edge of their vast empire. Captain John Miller stood on the bridge of humanity's secret weapon, a ship built in the shadows of Mars. The vessel looked simple from outside, almost primitive compared to the sleek alien designs. But inside, it carried something the galaxy had never seen before. Humans had done what no other species could. They had cracked the code of quantum reality itself. The Galactic Council's ambassador, Lord Crix, appeared on every screen across Earth. His blue-scaled face showed no emotion as he spoke. Humans of Earth, you will deliver 10 million workers to the mining colonies this month. Resistance will result in orbital bombardment of your cities. This was the moment humanity had been waiting for. Deep underground, in bunkers across every continent, human scientists watched their screens. Dr. Lisa Park pressed the activation button. Across the planet, hidden generators hummed to life. A field of energy, invisible but powerful, spread from Earth's core outward. The alien ships suddenly lost power. Their advanced shields flickered and died. Their weapons went silent. Their engines stopped working. In space, the mighty fleet that had terrorized Earth for decades became nothing more than floating metal tombs. Lord Crix's transmission cut off mid-sentence. His warship, along with 300 others, began drifting helplessly in Earth's orbit. But humans weren't done. They had studied their oppressors for 50 years. They knew every weakness, every flaw in alien psychology. While other species relied on technology and logic, humans had something else: chaos, creativity, and the ability to thrive in impossible situations. Captain Miller gave the order: launch Operation Freedom. From hidden bases on the moon, from underwater facilities, in Earth's oceans, from camouflage stations in the asteroid belt, humanity's true fleet emerged. These weren't just ships. They were weapons designed to fight in ways the galaxy had never imagined. Ships that could phase through solid matter, fighters that bent space around them, weapons that turned the enemy's own technology against them. The Galactic Council had made a fatal mistake. They thought humans were weak because they were young. They thought Earth was easy to control because humans fought among themselves. They never understood that human conflict had made the species stronger, more adaptable, more dangerous. As the alien fleet floated helplessly, human boarding teams moved in. They didn't kill the aliens that would have been merciful. Instead, they took control of every ship, every weapon, every piece of technology. In 6 hours, humanity went from a conquered species to owning the largest fleet in the known galaxy. Dr. Park watched the data streams. The quantum field generator had worked perfectly. It targeted the specific frequency that all Galactic Council technology operated on, a frequency humans had discovered by accident while trying to build better coffee machines. Of all things, the news spread across the galaxy at faster than light speed. Earth, the backwater planet full of primitive apes, had just defeated the most powerful military force in existence. And they had done it without firing a single shot. On distant worlds, species that had been enslaved for thousands of years heard the impossible news. The Galactic Council's enforcement fleets were powerless. Their weapons were useless. Their empire, built on technological superiority, had crumbled in a single day. Captain Miller opened a channel to every inhabited world in the galaxy. His message was simple: Earth is free. The Galactic Council's reign is over. Any species that wants freedom, now is your chance. Humanity stands with you. The universe held its breath. Then, like a dam bursting, chaos erupted across 10,000 worlds. Rebellion sparked on every conquered planet. Ancient grievances turned into open warfare. The perfect order that the Galactic Council had enforced for millennia shattered like glass. And at the center of it all was Earth, the little blue planet that had just changed everything. Asterisk, the first to rise were the miners of Kepler 442. These silicon-based beings had been forced to dig rare minerals for the Galactic Council for 3,000 years. When they heard Earth's message, they didn't hesitate. Using the very tools they had been given for mining, they turned their planet's automated defense systems against their guards. Commander James Wilson watched from Earth's new command center as reports flooded in from across the galaxy. Red dots appeared on the holographic map, each one representing a world in rebellion. Within 48 hours, there were thousands. The Galactic Council's response was swift but futile. High Commander Vex, the supreme military leader of the Council, sent his elite guard to reclaim Earth. 500 of the most advanced warships in the galaxy jumped into Earth's solar system. They lasted exactly 17 minutes. Humanity's new doctrine was simple. Don't fight the way the enemy expects. The Council's ships were designed for long-range energy battles between massive vessels. Humans sent swarms of tiny drones, each no bigger than a basketball. These drones attached to the enemy hulls and did something unthinkable. They hacked into the ships, life support systems, and pumped in a gas that made the aliens uncontrollably happy. The sight of the galaxy's most feared warriors giggling helplessly, while their ships were captured, became the symbol of the revolution. Videos spread across the galactic network, showing the terror of Vex, laughing so hard he couldn't stand up. Dr. Lisa Park had developed something even more revolutionary. She called it the Freedom Virus, a computer program that could travel through the Council's communication network and unlock any encrypted system. Every prison, every slave collar, every control device across the galaxy suddenly opened. On the water world of Delta 7, the amphibian slaves who had been forced to farm kelp for centuries suddenly found their underwater cages open. They swam free for the first time in generations, their bioluminescent skin flashing in patterns of joy. The desert planet of Sigma Rex saw its forced laborers walk out of the crystal mines. The gravity-heavy world of Titan 9 watched as its enslaved population simply stopped working and sat down, their chains falling off. But freedom brought chaos. Without the Council's strict control, old conflicts erupted. The Hive Queens of Proxima fought the machine collective of Beta 5, the warrior clans of the Outer Rim began raiding nearby systems. Trade routes collapsed. Food supplies were disrupted. Captain Miller met with his advisors. "We broke their chains," he said, looking at the chaos spreading across the galaxy map. "Now we need to help them build something better." Dr. Park had an idea. The Council ruled through fear and technology. What if we offer something different? What if we share our knowledge freely? It was a radical concept. The Galactic Council had hoarded technology, giving each species only what they needed to serve. Humans would do the opposite. Within days, Earth began broadcasting. Not orders or demands, but instructions. How to build water purifiers. How to grow food in harsh environments. How to create basic medical supplies. How to generate power from local resources. Simple, practical knowledge that any species could use. The response was immediate. The farming communes of Harvest 3 successfully defended themselves against raiders using human tactical advice. The ice miners of Frost 8 built heating systems that ended centuries of suffering. The void dwellers of the Dark Nebula created artificial lights that pushed back the eternal darkness. But the Galactic Council wasn't finished. In their hidden fortress at the galaxy's core, the Council elders activated their final protocol, the Extinction Fleet. These were ships from the time before the Council, weapons so terrible they had been locked away for 10,000 years. Ancient. Machines, powered by captured black holes, began to wake. Ships the size of moons started their journey toward Earth. The Council's message was clear. If they couldn't rule the galaxy, they would burn it all. Commander Wilson studied the approaching threat. The extinction fleet would arrive in 30 days. Humanity had that long to unite the chaos they had created into a force capable of fighting back. "Send the call," Miller ordered. "Every free world, every species that wants to survive. The final battle is coming. We fight together, or we die alone." Across the galaxy, beings who had been enemies for millennia received Earth's message. And for the first time in history, they began to consider something unprecedented working together. Asterisk. The Alliance of Chaos. The meeting point was Earth's moon. Representatives from 200 species gathered in humanity's lunar base. Some breathed oxygen, others methane. Some stood on two legs, others floated in protective bubbles. The conference room had to be divided into different environmental zones. Admiral David Jones stood at the center, looking at the most diverse gathering in galactic history. To his left, the crystal singers of Harmony 5 hummed in frequencies that created rainbow patterns in the air. To his right, the shadow walkers of the Void Nebula existed as barely visible wisps of dark matter. "The extinction fleet will be here in 20 days, Jones announced. The translation systems worked overtime, converting his words into hundreds of languages, colors, vibrations, and chemical signals. Our scouts report over 1,000 planet-killer vessels, each one capable of turning a world to ash. A representative of the stone giants, a being called Rock. Humans had given up trying to pronounce his real name, slammed his granite fist on the table. The Council enslaved us for 5,000 years. We will fight, but our ships are slow. We cannot match their speed. And we, clicked the insect queen of Swarm 7, have millions of fighters, but no heavy weapons. This was humanity's strength, seeing how different pieces could fit together. Admiral Jones pulled up a holographic battle plan. "Stone giants, your ships will be our fortresses. Swarm fighters will use them as mobile bases. Your strength and their speed together." The room erupted in discussion. Species that had never interacted began to see possibilities. The telepaths of Mind 3 could coordinate attacks across vast distances. The phase shifters of Ghost 2 could move supplies through solid matter. The Time Seers of Chrono 7 could predict enemy movement seconds before they happened. Dr. Lisa Park presented humanity's greatest contribution. We call it the Unity Protocol. It's a neural network that allows different species to share thoughts and strategies in real time, regardless of biology or psychology. Many representatives were skeptical. The plant collective of Garden 6 rustled their leaves in concern. Share thoughts with meat creatures? With silicon mines? It is unnatural. A young human pilot, Tom Brooks, stepped forward. "I've tested it. I've linked minds with a crystal singer, a machine intelligence, and a void dweller. It was strange at first, but then it was beautiful. I could see the universe through their eyes, feel reality in ways I never imagined." To demonstrate, Tom activated the Unity device. Volunteers from 5 different species joined the link. The room watched in awe as they began moving in perfect synchronization, their completely different forms somehow dancing in harmony, but preparing. For war required more than unity, it required weapons. The Forge Worlds of Industry 9 had been producing weapons for the Council for millennia. Now, their factories worked day and night for the Alliance. The genius was in combination: human creativity, hive efficiency, machine precision, crystal, energy manipulation, and stone giant strength. They created ships that defied conventional design, vessels that could split into smaller parts and reform, weapons that fired not energy or projectiles, but localized black holes. shields that didn't block attacks, but redirected them through dimensional portals. On Earth, 10 billion humans worked. Around the clock, children designed new tactical scenarios in video games that military computers analyzed for practical use. Artists painted battle formations that became actual strategies. Musicians created songs that, when broadcast at specific frequencies, could disrupt enemy communications. The prison world of Penal 12 surprised everyone. These were criminals from 100 species, locked away by the Council. When offered freedom and redemption, they brought skills no one expected. The pirates knew every hidden route through space. The smugglers had secret supply caches. The hackers understood Council technology better than anyone. Captain John Miller stood before the assembled fleet. 20,000 ships of every design imaginable. Some were sleek and beautiful. Others were ugly but functional. The smallest were one-person fighters. The largest were mobile battle stations the size of asteroids. "Look at us," Miller broadcast to the fleet. "A month ago, we were slaves, enemies, strangers. Today, we are united by something stronger than fear-hope. The Council ruled through order. We will win through chaos. They expect us to fight like them. Instead, we'll fight like us, unpredictable, creative, and absolutely insane by their standards." The extinction fleet was now 10 days away. Long-range sensors showed the massive vessels, each one surrounded by an aura of captured stellar energy. The Council elders themselves commanded the fleet. Being so old they remembered when the galaxy was young, Elder Prime Zix sent a final message to the Alliance. "You have brought disorder to our perfect galaxy. You will be erased from history. Your worlds will be forgotten. Your species will be extinct." Admiral Jones responded for the Alliance. "You forgot something about chaos. Elder, it's not just destruction, it's creation. It's not just disorder, it's freedom. And it's not just endings, it's beginnings. Come and face what you fear most, a galaxy that doesn't need you anymore." The final preparations began. Every species contributed something unique. The water dancers of Ocean 4 created a fluid defense network. The lightning masters of Storm 3 prepared to turn space itself into an electrical battlefield. The dream weavers of Sleep 7 worked on weapons that attacked the mind rather than the body. Earth's moon became the largest military base in galactic history. But it was more than that. It was proof that the impossible was possible. Species that evolution had, separated by billions of years, were working together. Beings that couldn't even breathe the same air were sharing the same purpose. As the extinction fleet grew closer, appearing as dark spots against the stars, humanity shared one last gift with their allies. It was a simple phrase, translated into every language. It became the battle cry of the free galaxy. Together, we are unbreakable. The extinction fleet arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system, like a wave of darkness swallowing stars. Each ship was a monument to ancient power, their hulls made from compressed stellar cores, their weapons powered by the death screams of collapsed civilizations. Admiral David Jones stood on the bridge of humanity's flagship, renamed Freedom's Dawn. Around him, the Unity Protocol connected him to thousands of commanders across the Allied fleet. He could feel the stone giant's determination, the swarm's hunger for victory, the crystal singer's harmonic rage. "All units, plan chaos is a go," Jones announced. The Council elders expected a traditional battle, two fleets facing each other across empty space, exchanging fire until one side broke. Instead, they got something else entirely. The Alliance fleet scattered in every direction. Ships didn't form battle lines. They danced. Fighters didn't attack in waves. They swarmed like angry bees. Capital ships didn't hold position. They teleported randomly using stolen Council technology, improved by human madness. Elder Prime Zix watched in confusion as his tactical displays showed impossible patterns. Ships were appearing inside his fleet's formation. Others were phasing in and out of reality. Some seemed to be in multiple places at once. The first strike came from the miners of Kepler 442. They had spent 3,000 years learning every weakness in Council armor because they had mined the materials to build it. Their drill ships punched through the extinction fleet's supposedly impervious hulls like paper. The second strike came from an unexpected source, the children. Every young member of every allied species had been given a simple task: design one attack pattern. The result was millions of completely unpredictable strategies. AI systems run by the machine collective randomized these patterns, creating an attack plan that changed every 3 seconds. Captain John Miller led the human contingent in their special mission. While the main battle raged, his stealth ships slipped through the chaos. Their target, the Extinction Fleet's command ship, a moon-sized vessel called the Final Order. Inside the Final Order, Elder Prime Zix tried to restore control. His perfect, ordered mind couldn't comprehend the chaos around him. Ships attacked, then retreated for no reason. Others seemed to attack their own allies, only to reveal it was a feint. Some did nothing but broadcast human music, which the elders found physically painful. "Restore order," Zix commanded. "Form defensive positions." But how could they form positions when space itself seemed to have gone mad? The phase shifters were moving asteroids into the battle at random. The gravity weavers were creating pockets of intense gravity that pulled ships off course. The time seers were warning their allies of attacks seconds before the elders even decided to make them. Dr. Lisa Park activated humanity's ultimate weapon, not a gun or a bomb, but an idea. She broadcast on every frequency, in every language, to every ship in the Extinction Fleet: "You don't have to die for the elders. You can be free. Join us." It was absurd. The crews of the Extinction Fleet had been bred for absolute loyalty. They were genetically programmed to obey. But humans had learned something about genetics. It wasn't as permanent as the Council believed. Asterisk. The Freedom Virus adapted and evolved, spread through the Extinction Fleet's communication systems. It didn't force anyone to rebel. It simply gave them the choice. For the first time in their lives, the slave soldiers could think for themselves. Results were immediate. Some ships stopped firing. Others turned on their own fleet. Many simply flew away, their crews choosing neither side but freedom itself. Elder Zix watched his perfect fleet dissolve into chaos. "Impossible," he said, his ancient voice cracking. "Order always defeats chaos. It is the law of the universe." Captain Miller's team had reached the Final Order, but instead of attacking, they did something unexpected. They knocked on the hull and asked to talk. Through the Unity protocol, Miller spoke directly to Zix's mind. "You're right. Order is powerful. But you forgot that chaos and order aren't enemies, they're partners. Life needs both. The galaxy needs both. Your time of absolute. Order is over, but that doesn't mean you have to end." The battle raged for 6 hours. The Extinction Fleet's ancient weapons tore holes in reality itself. The Alliance's chaotic tactics drove the elders to madness. Ships died by the hundreds on both sides, but then something unprecedented happened. Commander Wilson, monitoring from Earth, noticed a pattern in the chaos. The random attacks weren't random at all. They were forming something massive, galaxy-wide formation that no single mind could have planned, but emerged from the collective. Chaos. "All units," Wilson broadcast. "Formation Butterfly, now." The Alliance fleet moved as one, their chaotic movements suddenly revealing their purpose. They had surrounded the Extinction Fleet in a 3-dimensional web of ships, each positioned perfectly to support the others. It was a formation that could only have been created by chaos, and could only be executed by unity. The extinction fleet found themselves trapped. Every escape route led into an ambush. Every attack was countered by an unpredictable response. Every weapon was met with a defense they hadn't imagined possible. Elder Zix stood in his command center, watching the last of his fleet being disabled, not destroyed. The Alliance was capturing his ships, freeing his crews, offering them choice instead of death. Why? He asked Captain Miller, who now stood before him, having teleported directly onto the bridge. Why show mercy? We would have destroyed you all. Miller smiled. Because that's what makes us different. You ruled through fear. We'll build. Through hope, you demanded perfection. We celebrate imperfection. You destroyed what didn't fit. We find a place for everything. The elder looked at the human, this young species that had somehow united the galaxy against impossible odds. What happens to us now? You have the same choice as everyone else, Miller said. Freedom. Use your knowledge to help rebuild. Use your experience to teach. Use your power to protect instead of control. Or don't. The choice is yours. That's what freedom means. As the battle ended, the galaxy watched in awe. The unbeatable extinction fleet had been defeated, not by a superior force, but by the combined chaos of free beings working together. The Council's 10,000-year reign was truly over, but victory brought new challenges. The Alliance looked at each other, former enemies, former slaves, former strangers, and wondered, what now? The new dawn 6 months after the battle for tomorrow, the galaxy looked nothing like it had under Council rule. There was no single government, no universal law, no perfect order. Instead, there was something else, a vast network of free worlds, each choosing their own path, but connected by shared principles. Earth had become the unofficial capital, not because humans ruled, but because they had become the galaxy's mediators. When the warrior clans fought over territory, human negotiators found compromises. When the machine collective needed organic resources, humans arranged trades. When ancient enemies met, humans reminded them of their shared victory. Captain John Miller, now Ambassador Miller, stood in the new Galactic Assembly Hall built on Earth's moon. Representatives from 3,000 worlds gathered monthly, not to receive orders, but to share ideas. The old galaxy had one voice, the Council's. Miller addressed the assembly. The new galaxy has millions of voices. It's messy, it's chaotic, and it's beautiful. Dr. Lisa Park had established the Free Knowledge Network. Unlike the Council's hoarded secrets, all scientific knowledge was shared freely. The results were extraordinary. The swarm's biological expertise, combined with machine precision, created medical treatments that could heal any species. Crystal Singer harmonics, merged with human creativity, produced art that transcended physical senses. The stone giants, who had been forced to build for millennia, now built by choice. They created massive space stations where different species could meet and trade. These weren't just markets. They were celebrations of diversity. Restaurants where methane breathers and oxygen lovers could dine together. Theaters where colorblind species could enjoy music-based performances. But freedom wasn't without cost. Some worlds chose isolation. Others formed small empires. Pirates and raiders still existed. The difference was that now, when someone called for help, the entire galaxy could choose to respond. The prison world of Penal 12 had transformed itself into a rehabilitation center. Former criminals became teachers, showing others how to survive in a galaxy without strict rules. The saying, "It takes a thief to catch a thief," became galactic wisdom. Commander James Wilson led the new Galactic Peace Corps volunteer force. From every species, they didn't enforce law. They protected those who couldn't protect themselves. When natural disasters struck, they were first to respond. When new species were discovered, They made first contact with gifts instead of demands. Water dancers of Ocean 4 had created something remarkable: mobile oceans. Massive sphere ships filled with water that could travel to drought-stricken worlds. The desert planet of Sigma Rex, dry for 10,000 years, cried tears of joy when the first rain fell from artificial clouds. Even the defeated elders found new purpose. Elder Zix, the former Supreme Commander, now taught at the Strategic Academy on Mars. His knowledge of tactics, tempered with human creativity, produced a new generation of thinkers who could see both order and chaos as tools. "I spent 10,000 years trying to control the galaxy," Zix told his students. "The humans taught me something in 10 minutes, that a garden with only one type of flower isn't beautiful. It's boring." The Unity Protocol had evolved beyond its original purpose. Now, beings could choose to temporarily share consciousness, experiencing life through completely different perspectives. A human could feel what it was like to photosynthesize like a plant. A crystal singer could understand the joy of taste. A machine could experience dreams. These exchanges created unprecedented empathy. Wars became harder to start when you had felt life through your enemy's senses. Prejudice faded when you understood that different didn't mean wrong. Tom Brooks, the pilot who had first demonstrated the Unity Protocol, now ran tours for young beings. He would link a group of different species and take them on journeys through space, each seeing the universe through dozens of eyes simultaneously. These Unity rides became rites of passage for many cultures, but the biggest change was in how the galaxy viewed Earth and humanity. Humans weren't seen as conquerors or rulers, but as the species that had shown everyone a simple truth, that chaos and order, working together, created freedom. The Galactic Archive, once controlled by the Council, was now maintained by a collective of historians from every world. They recorded everything: victories and failures, joy and sorrow, order and chaos. The first entry in the new archive read, "On this date, the galaxy chose freedom over security, diversity over unity, chaos over order. It was messy. It was dangerous. It was the best decision we ever made." 5 years passed. Then 10. The free galaxy faced challenges the Council's order never could have survived. A plague that affected silicon-based life was cured by organic species working together. An invasion from another galaxy was repelled by the combined forces of former enemies fighting as brothers. A natural phenomenon that threatened to destroy a dozen systems was stopped by the merged knowledge of 3,000 worlds. Admiral David Jones, now retired, sat in his garden on Earth, watching the stars. His grandson, born after the liberation, asked him, "Grandpa, why did humans succeed where others failed?" Jones smiled. "Because we never learned to color inside the lines. Because we saw rules as suggestions. Because when someone told us something was impossible, we tried it anyway. But mostly because we knew a secret." "What secret?" "That every species in the galaxy had the same spark we did, the desire to be free. We just reminded them of it." The news networks reported the latest development. A new galaxy had been discovered, ruled by another oppressive empire, the Free. Worlds were debating what to do. The vote was unanimous. They would share the gift Earth had given them. They would offer freedom to another galaxy, not through conquest, but through example. Not through force, but through choice. Captain Miller, watching from the assembly, turned to Dr. Park. "Think we're ready for this?" Park laughed. "We turned chaos into freedom once. Why not twice?" As the free galaxy prepared for their next adventure, Earth's message echoed across the stars, now spoken in 1,000,000 languages by 1,000,000,000 voices. Freedom isn't given, it's taken. Order isn't imposed, it's chosen. And chaos? Chaos isn't the enemy of civilization, it's the mother of possibility. The universe would never be the same. And that was exactly the point. Epilogue. A eternal dance 100 years after Earth's liberation. A small child on a distant world asked their teacher, "Why do we celebrate Chaos Day?" The teacher, a descendant of both human and crystal singer genetics, something impossible. Under the old order smiled. Because that's the day the galaxy learned that perfection is a prison, but imperfection is infinite. Above them, the stars shone with the light of 10,000 free worlds, each different, each chaotic, each perfect in its imperfection. And at the center of it all, a small blue planet continued to spin, its people still dreaming of impossible things and making them real. The council had been right about one thing: order was powerful. But they had been wrong about everything else, because chaos wasn't the opposite of order. It was its partner in the eternal dance of existence. And humanity? Humanity was the species that heard the music and decided everyone should dance. The end. Asterisk.